Restructuring is needless, already dead, says Arch Bulama. In the wake of renewed call for restructuring of Nigeria by some interest groups, there are some others who think the idea had been overtaken by events. One of such stakeholders who do not see any reason to restructure the country as it is today is Arch Waziri Bulama. In this interview with our correspondent Jude Opara, the former National Secretary of the ruling All Progressive Congress APC, spoke on this and other burning national issues, including an X-ray of the Tinubu administration 1 year after. Except, they asked, recently the administration of Bola Tinubu clocked 1 year since it was inaugurated. How would you rate the government with reference to where we are and where we were before its advent? He replied, my own understanding of the major steps taken by President Tinubu were mainly major economic measures carried out to prevent the ship of state from grinding to a halt, from preventing the economy from a total collapse. So I trust in the determination of the President and his government in addressing not just the economic problems of the country, but a very difficult inflationary impact the reform measures have generated. I believe in the determination of the President because the way he talks with conviction, with passion, and with his background as someone who was a governor and senator means that he succeeded in bringing back law and order in Lagos, the biggest state in Nigeria. I believe that Tinubu will lead the country to economic development and stability. The reforms measures must have made life more difficult, but what I am saying is that the government should not only communicate more to the citizens, but to also directly give relief to the people to feed, transport themselves, and send their children to school, and also mobilize all Nigerians to put their hands in agriculture. Everybody, no matter your profession. They asked, okay, if you are to advise the government, what do you think should be done in the immediate and near future to reduce the rate of inflation which is already spiraling? He replied, what I will expect our political leadership across the country to do is to look at the anxiety, the fear that is prevailing in the country, the inflation caused by high cost of living, poverty and insecurity ravaging the country. If we must face reality, we must fix security and confront poverty. We must take some radical measures, intensively engage professionals and economists so that we embark on policies that will bring prosperity to the country. For instance, this is rainy season. The government should massively engage in agriculture. They should engage everybody to both in the urban and rural areas to plant one crop or the other. Fix security and confront poverty. We must take some radical measures, intensively engage professionals and economists so that we embark on policies that will bring prosperity to the country. For instance, this is rainy season. The government should massively engage in agriculture. They should encourage everybody to, both in the urban and rural areas, to plant one crop or the other. Every space in Nigeria should be used to plant something. Even if it is a square meter you have in your backyard, plant maize, yam, or even cassava. If you don't have enough space, buy chicken and grow. They will give you eggs or you grow broilers. We must do something to end this food inflation in the country. Let us stop watching television and sitting under the trees lamenting. Even if you're a rich man, plant something, even tomatoes or cucumber. This will make us self-reliant. They asked, recently some members of the House of Representatives were trying to sponsor a bill to create additional state for the Southwest. Another one was to have a 6-year single term, the executive, and a single term for executive, and having 2 vice presidents, one from the north and other from the south. What is your view about that arrangement? He replied, well, my take is that the issue of political alienation that some people are feeling in the country can only be addressed by discussion like the one being done by the House of Representatives. Again, there are other fallouts of the political exclusion, like the violence agitation in the southeast, southwestern part of the northeast. Agitation can be formal or informal. It can be violent or civil. But I believe that if the democratic system we are operating now can be allowed to walk up to the grassroots, it can take care of most of these agitations that people are complaining about. Some of these agitations are elitist designed for political space or inclusion. Some of the agitations too can be addressed if our political parties are working effectively. The issues of rotation and the structure can be reasonably addressed by the political parties. But unfortunately, the political parties at the moment are not developed enough. They are not matured enough, and they are just there, controlled, instead of being autonomous organization that recruit leadership and also generate ideas for governing the country. But this argument of rotation has its problems, because if you say, for instance, it is the turn of the Northwest, this means that someone from there will be president even if he was not the best at that time, because it is the turn of his zone. At the moment, our concern is not the political exclusion of any zone or region. Our concern is good governance, and it does not mean that the president has to come from your zone to give you good governance. That is what the Nigerian experience have shown. But given where we are today, I believe that they asked, but given where we are today, I believe that there is no part of this country that you cannot find quality men and women that can hold any office in the country. So if the system we are running today is breeding mistrust and distrust, why not open the space so that who feel marginalized will be accommodated? He replied, this is not opening the space. This is a kind of framing the space to give advantage to people who were either they were prepared or unprepared, because they must have to produce the president. Look, anybody who wants to rule this country should work for it. The provision of our constitution at the moment has not conferred any advantage to any region over the other. The provision of a constitution on the pathway to become president has made every part of a country a minority. So any person that wants to be a president has to be on a platform of a national party that is not tribal, regional, or religious, and you must have spread and make 25% of voters in 24 states. That kind of reduces the propensity for any religious demagogue or tribal warlord to become the president of Nigeria. Even if every popular person like General Buhari, who was a former head of state, a Muslim, a Northerner, he has to cooperate with the Southwest after failing 3 times. They asked, you said something here that the way we are, that nobody is marginalized. If a region like Northwest has 7 states and the Southeast has 5 while others have 6 each, in the National Assembly, the region with the highest number of states already has an advantage. He replied, the arrangement of the formation of states and the granting of autonomy, the creation of states, all these things have been discussed and debated and adopted by the Constitution. There were conferences and decisions at various levels before we arrived at this. So it is good for us to continue to accommodate agitations and to also continue to engage and explain how these things came into place. Yes, no system is perfect, but if you have any agitation observation, we have to discuss and address it. All right, on this note, we have come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen until I come your way next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.